The neighbor begins to say, I keep telling you that I like you. Why are you acting stubborn? Why are you proving stubborn? Please accept to date me. She shakes her head. They continue watching TV, and he places his hand on her lap again. She finally removes it the third time, and now she's beginning to get pissed off on how the neighbor is treating her in the house. She shifts away from the neighbor, but then the neighbor shifts closer to her. She shifts away one more time, and also the neighbor shifts closer to her. She's trying to molest her and hold her, and then she's beginning to get angry and pissed off. And then she finally tells the neighbor that if you do not want to watch TV in my house, you can start going back to your apartment. The neighbor is trying to hold her, and then he finally realizes that she's not giving in for any of this he's doing, and begins to apologize to her that he's very sorry and he did not know what had gotten over him. That she should find a place in her heart to forgive him. But then she says, if you do not want to watch TV and you know how you are feeling, please go back to your apartment. And then the neighbor gets up and goes back to his apartment. She's shocked at what just happened. She's surprised and amazed. And she tells herself, I don't even know what is going on with this young man. And then it is another day, and she's also watching TV on this day, but then she hears a knock on her door and tells the person to come in. This day, it is her neighbor who is at the door, and then the neighbor finally walks in, and this time around, he brings in a food and a drink that he had bought for her. But unknown to her, this food and drink had been poisoned and drugged to make her sleep and become subconscious, while the neighbor takes advantage of her by sleeping with her. He tells her, I'm sorry for the other time. I did not know what got over me, and I got you this food and drink to apologize to you and tell you I'm very sorry. She says, I've forgiven you and I've told you several times that I cannot date you. And then the neighbor tells her that you can start eating the food, but then she said, I'll eat it later, and drops it on the table. I'm not hungry yet, but I'll eat it very, very soon, she said to him. He says, okay, while you're watching TV, I'll just go get something from the apartment and I'll see you later. And then she proceeds to see him off and walks out of her door, and she's smiling because he had apologized. But on getting to lock the gate, the neighbor tells her that I'll be back. You can leave your door open. I'll be back very soon. I just want to get something from her apartment. So she steps back into her house, innocently thinking that the neighbor had changed, unknowing to her that the neighbor had a very different plan for her on this day. She looks at the food and says, my neighbor was very kind to bring this food to apologize to me. And then she continues watching TV and lays down a little to comfortably enjoy the movie. But while she's laying down and watching the TV, she begins to fall asleep and feel sleepy. And not too long, she's beginning to doze off, and then she finally falls asleep. While she's sleeping, she begins to have a dream of this same neighbor